Hey, welcome to my first YouTube channel. Oh, welcome to my first YouTube video. Booktube, woo! This is the state of my desk right now. It's the perfect time to start this off. I've been wanting to make a YouTube channel for a minute now because I've been making lots of TikTok videos, book talk, all that kind of fun stuff. But if TikTok's going away, sucks. I'm probably gonna make YouTube videos now too, but God, they're not gonna be the aesthetic level that I really want them to be, at least from the start. So right now, this is what we're working with, and it's a hot mess in here. I think I want to clean up a little bit. I'm not exactly sure what this video even is. Introduction to my channel, perhaps. Not looking my greatest today, and I've been sick for like the past 3 days. So, you know, it's January 1st, 2025. We have high hopes. Basically, I'll do a little intro. My name's Drew, I'm 25. You don't need to know my age. Let's go back. Basically, I started reading again in, I would say, sometime in 2020 when all that stuff was going on. I read a lot as a kid and then I kind of stopped for a while. It wasn't until like 2021 that I got into like the fantasy genre, which really like amped it up for me quite a bit. The first like fantasy series I read was Cruel Prince, love. That kind of what kickstarted all of this, and now I've just been on the internet talking about books for at least a couple years now. So that's super fun. I want to go over some of my favorite books that define me, and then maybe I'll do a little book room tour because this room's pretty damn cute and I've done a lot to make it look cute. And I feel like you can get to know me the best by what this room looks like, is what I'm saying. I've never done like long form content before either. I've always just done TikToks that are like max 5 minutes. Unfortunately, I don't know how long I'm capable of yapping, but we'll freaking find out. So yeah, let's start with clean up my space. The biggest adjustment for me from going to filming a lot of TikTok videos to now doing YouTube is I keep recording things and my head's freaking cut out of the shot. Do I gotta stand all the way back here? So let's hope my head's in the shot this time. Also, if anyone's wondering, I'm filming this on my phone. It's gonna be echoey. I don't have a mic. I'm just a girl. I don't know. I picked 8 books that like define my taste and like define me as a reader, like my all-time favorite books that I'm constantly talking about. I feel like 8 is actually quite a bit, but I literally can't narrow it down past this point. If anything, I could add like 6 more. Okay, cool. Let's go over some books that I love. Some of these books are really what got me into reading the most, and they kind of just define my taste of what I love. You can then judge me and see if you would like me at all or trust any of my recommendations, because really that's all that matters. If I like the books you like, you know? Okay, first we're gonna start off with Peach Read by Emily Henry. Listen, this one to me is a classic. This is my favorite Emily Henry book. I got the special edition. Not much I can say to this. If you know, you know. I've read this one twice. I constantly feel the urge to read it again. It's just one of the most beautiful stories I've ever read. I feel like it just unlocked something deep inside me. I was expecting like a fun, cutesy rom-com when I first read it, which it definitely has its moments. It's definitely cheesy at some moments. Overall, it is a much more complex story, and I think I just learned a lot about myself when I was reading it. God, I recommend this one. Next we have Dance of Thieves. I also have the special edition of this one. This is a Barnes & Noble special edition. Gorgeous. Love it so much. This is also one of the first like fantasy duologies I read where I was like, I wish I wrote this. I wish if I read this as a kid or even in high school, I would have been reading for far longer than just a couple years. I love the story so much. It's just one of the first ones that I like really became so obsessed with, and it's just like kickstarted and snowballed into this whole big thing of me constantly having a hyperfixation about something. So I love this one so much. If you haven't read this, you definitely should. It is, I wouldn't say the most like original. I've read a lot of other fantasy books like it, but I think it's a much older book. Not too much older, I would say. Also, side note, you're gonna learn I'm not the best at giving like synopsis of books. I will give like vague descriptions of like what's going on in the book and the plot. I don't like giving a full like overview of every single thing that happens and every single trope that's in there and blah 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 blah. Mainly because I don't like watching those type of videos. Sometimes it just like takes away from the magic of the book. I like knowing little things here and there and mainly going into it somewhat blind. So I'm never going to be the one for a full synopsis, full overview of every single plot point of everything that's going on in a book. Okay, I'm just stating that as a disclaimer right off the bat. But I love this book. This definitely defines my taste, I would say. Next we have Queen of Shadows. That was such an evil laugh. The Throne of Glass series as a whole is my favorite. I don't care if you think Sarah J Maas is overrated, because she's not. This one is just my favorite. I don't know. It's just, there was something about this one that like, I cried so much, and this one has just stuck with me the most, even though every single book is actually pretty devastating, but this is my favorite in the Throne of Glass series, so do with that what you will, you know? And if you haven't read the series, this is the blueprint for the fantasy series. If you want a really big series to read, please read this one. Next we have Sorcery of Thorns. This is another one where I think the characters in it, I became so attached to and so obsessed with, and the main character in this is just, I saw so much of myself in her. Next I have Raven King. Also, this series as a whole is just something that defines me as a reader. I became so quickly obsessed with this series and so attached to these freaking teenage characters. It is southern mystery mixed with magic, mixed with like, not really horror, but some like, I don't know, like eerie elements, and just the setting of this world and the characteristics of the characters. I'm so obsessed with so many of, like, just all of them. And then next we have Children of Fallen Gods. This is the second book in the War of Lost Hearts trilogy by Carissa Broadbent. This one is, I feel like, criminally underrated. Everyone's really obsessed with the Serpent and the Wings of Night series, which is also good, and I need to read the newest book, but this one specifically broke me. Also, another if you know, you know. There's just so many complex characters. It's a really big fantasy world. It's almost some levels of like sci-fi, but not really. You get what I'm saying? And it's just a really big cast of characters, and so many like, don't know who's good and you don't know who's bad. And sometimes you're even rooting for the bad people. You know what I mean? It's just a beautiful story. It broke me so much, and I just love these characters. I like really complex plots, but I also absolutely need characters that I just love and I'm obsessed with, and I see myself in them. I feel like I can relate and love the story a lot more. If it's not a strong character, I don't want it. Next we have When the Moon Hatched. I like a big, thick fantasy book, okay? I like big, long series. I like big books. This one I also read this last year and very quickly became obsessed with it because of how complex the whole world is. I love just being absolutely, completely feeling like I'm in every single layer of a world, and like there's so much information and it's almost overwhelming, but it's also not. Like there's a whole glossary in this book. I just loved it. The magical elements, the dragons, love dragons so much. There's so much questioning the entire time. I feel like I didn't fully know what was going on until towards the end of the book, which I love. Some people don't love. Yeah, just a really good fantasy book with romance in it. Loved it so much. So this definitely defines my taste as well. And lastly, One Dark Window. I got the special edition for Christmas from my boyfriend. Shout out to him, he's awesome. This book defines my taste to a T. I would say I wanted to save this one for last because this is the type of book, like I read this and I was like, why did I not write this? It feels like it's something that was from my own blood. Like I just love it so much. It's a dark, gothic, horror, fantasy romance book with Again, very complex characters and characters that you feel compassion for even when they're technically considered evil, and I just love it. It's complex, it's different, it's very unique than a lot of the other fantasy romance books that I've read this past year, and I just love it so much. I cannot ever recommend it enough. But yeah, those are the books that define my taste. You can judge me because of that now.